Okay, don't miss the high-stake action as the UST Tommies battle the Golden Gophers at XL Energy Center on October 26th. You can enter for a chance to win tickets to that game that promises to be unforgettable now. KFAN.com keyword contest. That's KFAN.com keyword contest. Enter today.
That sounds like a heck of a baseball. What game? Basketball?
That's going to be hockey.
That sounds like a heck of a hockey game. I think I might want to go.
And I think we're actually going to have tickets to give away for that today. So
sweet.
As well as Flop Set and Drew too. So I'll have to get the info to you.
Very good. Here's a question, Tenneby, that came on the KFAN text line before we dive into 534. And I think it deserves a response. There is merit to this. It says, with Master Control Supervisor Molesky getting a well-deserved game off, who's going to be stepping into his substantial shoes to power the Vikings radio ship? And are they ready for the spotlight, young man or young lady? Tenneby, who is going to try to fill your very large shoes? Do we know?
We don't know. We don't have any indication. I am not a part of that selection committee. My guess is if Zach Halverson is available, that would be his because he's done it before.
Oh, he has?
Yeah. No, I haven't made every game.
Can't you just say you did? Because it was a better story when you made it.
I do go on vacation every once in a while.
So you do? You missed I thought you had been like on this Cal Ripken Ironman streak, never missing a game. I'm disappointed, Tenneby. Nonetheless, let's go ahead and dive into 5, 3, 4.
Time now for 5 questions. Well, actually 3, but 5 sounds like more than 4. Question number 1. NFL no huddle.
Oh, here we go.
Pretty good day for the NFC North yesterday, Common. Chicago, 35-16 win over Jacksonville in London. The Packers routed the Cardinals 34-13, and as you've already mentioned, your Lions destroyed Dallas 47-9. Common, which team in the NFC North, if you're a Vikings fan, scares you the most?
I think it was officiating guy sent me a text. Something to the effect of the Bears, Packers, Vikings, and Lions have the largest point differential. Those 4 teams have the biggest point differential of all teams in the league. Is that true? Is there some stat like that? Or have those 4 teams been that dominant in their victories?
I thought I saw that as well.
That's could the NFC North be the best division in pro football? I think
Vikings are plus 63. That is the best in the National Football League. Lions are plus 60. Bears are plus 47. Packers are plus 41. And yes, there is no other team in the National Football League that is better than those 4.
I would say it's the best division in pro football. And, that can be deceiving because depending upon who
best
you
division
play.
in all of sports?
Yes. Depending upon who you play, when you play them, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Is it et cetera or et cetera?
Et cetera.
Et cetera.
ETC.
Et cetera. I would think it's still the Kitties. I do. I think, look, the Packers almost came back and won that game. I mean, they tend to be a Packer fan would say, we didn't lose that game. We just ran out of time. And I'm curious to see how the Bears continue to play when they I don't think their competition's been that good.
Yeah.
But I'm curious to see how much they continue to build on what they've done.
At least they're routing a team like Jacksonville, and Caleb Williams is getting better.
Yeah. But I would still think Detroit. Would you agree with that? Do you say Detroit?
I would say Detroit.
Yeah, I think so too.
Kirk Cousins and the Atlanta Falcons crushed Carolina 38-20 yesterday, Common. Is Atlanta a contender in the NFC? So Atlanta Falcons, they're a team based in the NFC South. They got Kirk Cousins in the offseason from the Minnesota Vikings.
I'm familiar with him, too.
Bijan Robinson got a couple tutties yesterday.
Don't treat me like meat. I don't say it. You said it best, I think, when there's no real dominant team in the NFL other than the Vikings at 5-0, Lions at 4-1. After that, the Commanders have been very good, but I think it's kind of a wide open NFC, and they've won 3 in a row now. Is that right? I think they started out 1-2, and they are now 4-2. And Cousins threw for over 5.
Yeah, they're 4-2.
Yeah, Cousins threw for over 500 yards last week, and he was good again yesterday. I think they're legit. Now, am I ready? Am I ready to say? It's the Falcons and the Vikings in the NFC Championship game, and you're on your own after that. I'm not quite ready to say that, but it's certainly distinctly possible.
Question number 2. It's time now for a look at the Lynx.
The Lynx were down 17 in Game 2. This time, though, their rally fell short, not like Game 1, as they lost with New York Liberty 80-66. This series tied at 1-1 with Game 3 scheduled Wednesday night. The Lynx got within 2 at 68-66, but finished the game 0 for 5 from the field with 3 turnovers as they were outscored 12-zip. Common, what sticks out to you from last night's Game 2 loss?
Well, I guess that this time they couldn't, complete the comeback like they did the night before. And I think I read in the account that one of the Liberty players was not very good. Liberty. Was not very good Game 1, but had, 20 points yesterday and played. Apparently this Liberty player is very good on both sides of the court, offense and defense. When she's playing well, they're a hard team to beat. So I guess, without being too familiar with either club, doing the best I can to catch up, I would say, it's incumbent on the Lynx to slow her down at least, and then play like they're capable of. Defensively, they're as strong as anybody, right? So play some defense, make a few buckets. Let's play. I like their chances.
Question number 3.
Time now for an in-depth look at the state of hockey.
Oh boy. What happened to the Gopher hockey team? I thought they were supposed to not lose to anybody.
The Wild got 2 of 4 points this weekend, losing to the Kraken 5-4 in a shootout Saturday night, and then 2-1 to the Jets in overtime yesterday. The Wild, though, yesterday were without Joel Eriksson-Ek, who has a broken nose, and Jared Spurgeon, who was out with a lower body injury. Common, what are your thoughts on the Wild's 2-point weekend?
Did we, was it the Kraken game we got jobbed by the officials?
Yes, they had a really bad call go against them. Now, you still got to kill a penalty every once in a while. The refs are going to make bad calls.
Right.
But
we did get jobbed there. And then the injuries. I think you mentioned Eck is going to probably, with a broken nose, just eat some dirt and rub a little Robitussin on it. He'll be ready to go. And with Spurgeon, wasn't he injured all of last, or do I have the wrong player?
Yes, I think he played 16 games last year. And he's up there in age. He's 34. Yep. And they're not telling us what the injury is.
Yep.
But if it's a recurring injury from last year, then
yeah.
Then it becomes ominous.
And when he is healthy and playing to his full potential, he's considered really good, right?
Yeah.
I mean, really good. And so they're depending upon him, and without him, and I don't know, Teneby, it's 3 games in, you already have one major. It seems like a major injury.
We don't know.
Yeah, we don't know. Maybe he'll be bounced
because they're so secretive about it,
right? I don't know. What's your take? And I can eat my lunch.
Well, yeah, it was kind of a weird weekend in that the Wild still in regulation have not trailed all season. Yet the record is 1-0-2 because they lost in the shootout Saturday, and they had leads multiple times against the Kraken in that game, and they were blowing leads. And then yesterday, when you're playing without Joel Eriksson-Ek and Jared Spurgeon at a place they have not played well at in Winnipeg for quite some time, just might be one of those bad matchups for them. I guess maybe to salvage the point, if you want to take the Paul Allen purple Kool-Aid approach to it, it's not a bad thing. But yeah, like I said, the Spurgeon injury, even just reading Russo, because they're being so secretive about it, it kind of leaves a little bit of a black cloud over. We don't know how severe this thing could be. And maybe he just misses tomorrow night against St. Louis and he's back because they're going to have a couple days off and everything's okay. But because in the NHL they decided to never actually reveal what any of the injuries are, it's hard not to think about what if he has the same thing recurring that happened last year, that he missed the majority of the season. And I talked with Fallness tonight on KFAN World Weekly. We already taped it. That, last year we never really it was Brock Faber's breakout year, right?
Yes.
His first full-time year with you. But we never got to see them with their main 4 defensemen all intact because Spurgeon missed the vast majority of the year. Even Brodin missed some moments. And I was looking forward to hey, if this team's going to improve, it might be because you're going to have Brodeen, Spurgeon, Faber, all three really good defensemen in your top four. That makes your goaltending looks better. That makes your penalty kill looking better. Offensively, you're going to get out of your zone more efficiently, so you're going to spend more time in the offensive zone. And already, depending on what the severity of the Spurgeon injury is, we might not get a look at those four for quite some time.
Let me ask you this question. If the Spurgeon injury is significant and long-term, would the Wild entertain thoughts of trading with the Radiators for Max Crosby?
Why not? I think the Crosby name has been very good at hockey.
It has been.
Yeah. And they're brothers, obviously. Sidney and Max.
That is correct. And they both play defense. No way.
Sidney's a forward, but he's a two-way forward. He can play defense.
But Spurgeon played defense. So then we replaced defense with defense. I think they ought to call the Radiators right away, see what Al Davis would want for him. 534 in the books for the day. Tennebee's got a keyword. Then I do want to talk a little bit. I hope they're paying attention over at 600 First Avenue with the Twins, whoever the new owner may be, with what's going on in Major League Baseball right now.
The Fan and two men in a junk truck want to give you a shot to put $1,000 in your hand with our national cash contest. Just enter the keyword dollar at KFAN.com now for your shot at winning. That keyword is dollar. Enter now at KFAN.com. Hey, want to chime in on what's happening in their favorite KFAN program? Make your voice heard on the Bradshaw and Brian text line. Let us know what you have to say by texting your message to 64686. That's 64686. Standard message and data rates apply.
Okay. That makes sense, Tenneby. Thank you. A little off-air radio business being taken care of. Tenneby whispering in my ear through the talkback switch. Was announced last Wednesday or Thursday, regardless of what day it was, at the Minnesota Twins. And what is the exact way they worded that again? I don't recall, but they are entertaining the possibility of selling the team. That's what they're going to do. They didn't come right out. They're just going to look into it, basically, is what. I want to find that. So give me 1 second here. I saved it because I loved it.
What are you looking for?
The exact wording of the Twins news release on they're exploring
their intent.
They're exploring their intent to sell the team. Something of that nature. So as of now, the Pohleds still own the club. Derek Falvey is still the man in charge of the on-field product. He is Thad Levine has moved on to greener pastures. Rocco Baldelli will still be the manager. I think they parted ways with some other coaches. I don't know if they're making any changes in the player development and scouting and all that. I didn't see anything like that. But I hope they're paying attention, and whoever the new owner might be, to what's happening in postseason play right now, Tenneby. It's I think a wise man once said, I think it was Tom Kelly, and I learned of it from Dark Star, if you pitch and play defense, you give yourself a chance to win the ball game. And that's exactly what you're seeing right now in Major League Baseball. The Cleveland Guardians have advanced to the American League Championship series. They have a couple of nice starters, but what they really have going for them, Tenneby, is the best bullpen in baseball right now. Their bullpen, Tenneby, is their ERA is their team bullpen ERA is 2.57 for the regular season. That's the fourth best bullpen ERA of any team since 1995. That's where if your starter, that's the way they play Major League Baseball now. If you can get your team if your starter can get you to the 5th or 6th inning, it's your game. Heron, Smith, Gaddis, and Clase. Clase was called on to pitch 2 innings against the Tigers. That was a terrific game. 7-3, the game was close until, that's another point. It was close until that Skubal guy, he's gonna win the Cy Young in the American League. He won baseball's Triple Crown. He did give up the grand slam to Lane Thomas that gave the Guardians a 5-1 lead. They ended up eventually winning 7-3 in the 5th and decisive game. Lane Thomas was the Cleveland trade deadline acquisition. He also had a 3-run homer earlier that won a game for them as well. That's a real trade deadline acquisition. That's one that is meaningful. Somebody that you've decided, you've targeted, he can do the things he's supposed to do. He was playing for, who did they get him from? I think it was Washington. He'd been playing for Washington. They made a deal for him, and guess what, Tenneby? He did what you hope your trade deadline acquisitions can do. He basically won the game, the 5th and deciding game, and that's how Cleveland advanced into the American League Championship Series. Their starter that day was a kid named Boyd. He hasn't pitched much this year. I think he's been appeared in 8 games. He was signed in June to the club while he was rehabbing his elbow, and he was brilliant against the Tigers. They didn't keep him long, though. I think the manager pulled him like 3rd inning. And there was some debate about pulling him too early because what I'm getting tired, and like John Smoltz is as good of pitcher as we've seen in our era, right? He was the one that dueled Big Black Jack Morris in that 1-0 greatest Game 7 in World Series history. I'm on the field slapping Big Black Jack Morris on the back, and Smoltz was his opponent on the. He was the starting pitcher for the Braves. And he kept going on and on about pitch counts and guys getting tuckered. And it's like, God, they're young men. I mean, are they really getting that tuckered? Just because they pitched a couple of games in a row, and they were so worried about Clase having to pitch 2 innings in a row because he'd pitched 2 innings in a row like the game before. It's like, dude, it's October. That's just what's expected. And, I just can't think his arm's going to fall off if he doesn't. Maybe they're just because they never let them stretch it out at all. Maybe that's part of the problem. But Clase was real big. Now, he had a blunder earlier. He gave up that 3-run home run that lost a game to them against he'd given up like 6 earned runs all year, and 3 of them were on that one swing. And that was earlier against Detroit when the Carpenter kid hit the 3-run home run to lift Detroit to it. And Carpenter was playing this weekend with the bat. I mean, he drove in the Tigers' first run. He can't walk, Tenneby. He hobbles to first base, but they got to have him in the lineup because he can still hit. He had one of those hammies. He injured it round in third base in game 1, I think it was, and he could barely get around the base, but they had to have him in the lineup. They wouldn't pinch run for him because they knew they needed him later on. But that's such a good bullpen. And the Boyd kid's good, and Bybee is a hell of a pitcher. Pitching is what helps Cleveland get to where they are right now. Let's go to the Dodgers. They win last night 9-0. They have now tied a Major League postseason record, Tenneby, of 33 consecutive shutout innings. 33 consecutive shutout innings going back to the Padres series. They tied the record of the 1966 Baltimore Orioles. But here's the difference between how they pitch now, Tenneby, and how they did back then. The Dodgers, in that 33 innings, have used 20 different pitchers over, and maybe not, when I say different, I mean a couple of the guys have pitched more than once, but I mean just they faced 20 pitchers. They trotted 20 different they trotted 20 pitchers out to the mound in that 33 innings. 20 guys have thrown pitches. In 1966, when Baltimore shut out the LA Dodgers, or beat the LA Dodgers, swept them in 4 games, the Dodgers scored, I think it was 6 runs in the first game in like the second or third inning. They never scored again. You know how many pitchers pitched for Baltimore? 5. That's it. McNally started game 1. He left. Mo Drabowski came in, pitched 6 and 2/3 innings of relief, struck out 11 hitters. I think that is a major league record to this day. A reliever striking out that many batters in a World Series game, 11. The next game was Jim Palmer, game 2. He pitched a complete game shutout. Wally Bunker pitched a complete game shutout in game 3. And Dave McNally pitched a complete game shutout in game 4. Complete games. That's what they used to do back then, kids. They used to pitch complete games. So they pitched Matt McNally twice, Grabowski, Palmer, and Wally Bunker, only 5 pitchers. But still, either way you look at it, 5 pitchers in 66, 20 here in 2024. Pitching is still...
The times they are changing.
They are changing, but they're not, because pitching still wins.
Yes.
If you can pitch and play defense, you give yourself a chance to win the ball game. We'll take a break, come back with more Common Man program here on The Fan.
The biggest names in folk rock as they take the stage together. Don't miss out when the Avett Brothers and Trampled by Turtles co-headline the XL Energy Center on October 24th. Tickets are still available for this incredible show. For more info and get yours today, head over to KFAN.com /calendar.
Kara, I've tried to take you under my wing, and I don't know how many times I have to tell you this. Can you once again say Trampled by Turtles? Come on, you can
Yeah. Trampled by Turtles. Is that better?
Better.
Can
But
you
you
work
gotta
on...
go like this. Can you get your voice like Trampled by Turtles? Try.
Okay. Trampled by Turtles.
Yes.
That's much better.
That's much better. Isn't it kind of fun, too? Did you get goosebumps doing it? Because I do.
Yeah, a little bit.
Trampled by Turtles and the Avett Brothers. Because if you don't say it that way, people won't get excited for the concert. You got to let them know it's exciting. And as I mentioned last week, I don't see how anybody could get trampled by a turtle. You'd have to be walking very slow. A couple of text messages that have come into the Bradshaw and Bride KFAN text line. There's always people trying to get me going and trying to trap me. First of all, this one, Tenneby, says, Box. How would signing the top 5 free agent running backs esoteric approach handle being down 2 touchdowns? Because if you'll remember, Tenneby, we were talking about how much more hope a team has if you fall behind with the Gophers. We were talking about the Gophers. There was a time where until we had Max Brosmer, and other than that couple of seasons where Tanner Morgan was pretty good, we haven't had much of a passing game. And so if the Gophers wanted to be a running team, that's what, it was the old... JG always repeats whatever it was that Mason used to say. Was it like a pair and a spare or something like that?
Yeah.
You have to have a lot of running backs, right? And PJ has been known to want to run the football. Let's run the football, ball control, not make any mistakes, play kind of conservative, I guess, and have a good defense. The fatal flaw there is if you don't have a good running game, don't have a good offensive line, or don't have a good defense, it's not going to work very, very often. You're going to find yourself trailing in games. And when you haven't had a quarterback like Brosmer, we talked about it against Michigan. He engineered not 1, not 2, but 3 second-half touchdowns. Against USC, he engineered a couple of fourth-quarter scores. And then against UCLA, he got another one. So he's been able to put the team, and they should have beat Michigan. They had a bad call. And then they did beat USC and UCLA. And they did those with fourth-quarter drives engineered by a quarterback that's been cool, calm, and collected. So he's trying, and then, of course, I had the brilliant, and again, it's esoteric, it's not understood by many. The Vikings some team should just sign 3, 4, 5 of the top running backs in the free agent class. If you want to be a running team and just dominate that way. Guys are fresh. They're coming in all the time. You have different types of running backs. It would just be a great way, a different approach instead of just trying to paying a quarterback $60 million a year and having him try to throw you to a victory all the time. But here's what I tell him when he says, well, how would that esoteric approach of all those running backs handle being down 2 touchdowns? You wouldn't be down 2 touchdowns. That's the idea behind it. You have 5 running backs running the ball. You're grinding up clock. You're punctuating with touchdowns. Your defense shuts them up, forces a 3 and out. Then you grind it again. You score another touchdown. You're up 14-0. It's halftime. The other team's had the ball twice. That's the whole idea. So you can't Where's that thing about comments out of the box again, or the Houdini thing? I should have had you set that up. I should have done the whole.
I think I still have it.
Yeah, it's not worth it now because
there it is.
He's done it again. Yes, another amazing escape by the Common Man.
And this really isn't an escape, but I get this text message that says, Cowboys had their best defensive tackle out too. Don't get too excited. And as I said, I mentioned that. Then I said, I texted him back. I said, try and keep up. It's not that hard. It's really not that difficult. I mentioned they were missing not one, not two, not three, but four. I think they were missing four defensive starters, including one of the best defensive players in pro football, Micah Parsons. I mentioned that. As a matter of fact, I said I wouldn't get too excited about this Lions offense, but they did play extremely well. So it's Tennessee, it's what I would say, keep your players healthy. Same with the Lions. They got Hutchinson out to keep him healthy. It was a gruesome injury. He's out, and how the Lions are able to cover up for that will be it'll be interesting to see. We have a couple of giveaways. I'm not going to do them quite yet, but I have two of them to do today, Tennessee. As you mentioned, there's an epic showdown. UST Tommies take on the Golden Gophers at the Fuse Box Saturday, October 26th. You can tickets are available at xlenergycenter.com, but we'll give away a pair of tickets to that. And then
they played last year at the X.
Okay.
And I was at the game. It was a very entertaining game. The atmosphere was great. You kind of have the first time ever the two inner city teams and their fan bases.
Was how did the game? I don't remember the outcome.
Gophers won, but I believe it was like a 5-4 game.
Okay, so went right down to the wire.
St. Thomas made a rally, yeah.
And then, are you sitting down to this? We're going to give away Flop, Sweat, and Tears tour tickets. This year's tour is called This Time We Mean It. No, this is really it for us. This is the last year we're ever going to
I can't wait to hear what the next one's called.
Yeah. You can see Common Sauce and Larry Mondello guy at the Chart House in Lakeville. A week from Wednesday. It's a midweek show, so you can get your teeth in the glass by 9:30, because I think the show is a 7 or 7:30 start. I'll double check on that, but you'll be home by 9 or a little after. It's a dinner show, and dinners include, we have a KFAN table, actually. So
really?
Yeah, so there'll be, we're not going to give away 8 tickets. We're going to give away 2 and 2 and 2 and 2. Matter of fact, we've given away 4 already. Power Trip gave away a pair. I gave away a pair. We're going to give away another pair today and another one tomorrow. And dinner featuring Briano's famous spaghetti and meat sauce. Lucky. This is all courtesy of the Chart House. Mick Sterling presents and KFAN. We'll give away those tickets.
Dinner and a show.
Yeah. In the past, when I've had 2 giveaways to do, I've always given the 11th caller the choice. And every single time they've taken whatever other ticket was available before the Flop, Sweat, and Tears. I wonder if they would this time.
Hockey's a little bit more of a niche regional sport. I mean, here it's a little more than niche, but you're either in the hockey camp or you're not in the hockey camp.
You'll see more pratfalls at our show than you will at the X, I can tell you that. But we'll give those both away a little bit later. I saw that we didn't have to wait long for Big Meow to square off against his former club. They played a preseason game last night, huh?
I didn't get to it in 5 questions, but it was on the list.
Yeah. It was, how did Meow do? I thought he did okay, right? Was he 16 points and 16 rebounds? Knickerbockers won, though again, the outcome of the game really doesn't matter much because it is preseason. Ant was big. How many did he have? 31? I think he had 31 in 27 minutes. So
they must play like full games in preseason, huh? I was assuming you play for like 12 minutes and get off the court.
And he played the full 27. Apparently there were a lot of high fives and hugs and tears and that all because he's been gone for so long. I can understand why they're missing him so much. But yeah, I guess especially for Big Meow, having spent his entire career with Minnesota, and he had, we had talked about this on the day of the trade. Tennessee, he, as far as I know, never demanded a trade. And with as bad as this team was during some of the years he was here, I wouldn't have blamed him to say I want out. But I don't think he ever asked to get out. Stayed here the entire time. And then I don't think this was his idea. This was I think we realized one of the biggest reason I think they made the deal was because they just, it's that luxury and that what do they call it? It's the luxury tax and what do they call them? Canopies? No. what are the levels or layers or whatever it is, where you just there's a second one and a third one, and you just the further you go over them, it restricts you, I think, on draft picks and what you can do, and your money. You get punished with the luxury tax, so it gets aprons is what the word, apron is what the word I was looking for. So, but what was the fight about last night? The defense sitting out.
Yes,
is this a preseason? This is why, honestly, I know this is what these guys do for a living. It's their life, and it's my wife, and I guess I just don't know, and I guess I just don't know. Do you know what song those lyrics are from, tend to be? It's my wife, and it's my life, and I guess I just don't know, and I guess you won't know.
No, I don't know that.
It's Lou Reed, and the song is called Heroin, but it's an anti-heroin song, actually. It's a brilliant piece of work. It's like...
Is it spelled like the drug heroin, or is it spelled like the...
No, it's a drug heroin, because it's about heroin. He's basically... It's an anti... He's talking about how bad it is. So it's not, you know.
He's saying don't do drugs, kids.
Yeah, basically is what he's trying to say. I turned Max on, not to heroin, but to the song Heroin, not actual heroin. Max can't believe it. He's listened to it like 1,400 times already, because it is a brilliant piece of work. If you like me, I highly recommend it to people. But I know it's their life and it's their wife and all that, but what is he? And was it about the trade? They asked DiVincenzo, and he said no, it had nothing to do with that. He was yelling at the father, the Brunson kid that plays for the Knicks. His dad coaches on the team, I think.
Yes,
he loves
which I didn't know that until last night.
I didn't either, and he loves the guy.
That's kind of weird.
What were they fighting about? Because he wouldn't say, or have we found out?
I mean, obviously, it's the team he got traded from.
Right.
And there's clearly a history there. Clearly, there's some bitterness there. I did not watch it, but I have seen the videos of Dante DiVincenzo at the free throw line, and it appears as if he's yelling something to Tibbs. Like, I know you did this, Tibbs. I know you did this. And like he literally goes in one motion to like yelling at Tibbs on the sideline and just making the free throw without even like pausing in between. And then after the game, him and Brunson's dad were face to face yelling about something, arguing about something.
Yeah.
So he was not happy. Well, he's happy now, but I don't think he was happy with the way his time ended in New York.
The problems of the rich and famous. It's just amazing what they have to go through.
I know.
You were dissed or that. You know what? How many teams has DiVincenzo played on? I don't think this is his first rodeo as it comes to, there's probably a reason why. I mean, I again, until he said the story I saw was an earlier version. It may have been updated. I don't know. But what I saw was DiVincenzo didn't want to talk about it. Didn't want to get into it.
We are his fifth team. Played 4 years for Milwaukee, then 1 year for SAC, 1 year for Golden State, 1 year for New York.
There's probably a reason you're globe trotting around the United States and playing for different teams. That would be my guess. I don't know. Maybe it's a coincidence. But just relax, calm down. Basketball's been very, very good to you. But apparently he was offended by something, and maybe you're right. Maybe what felt, why was I traded? Because he's with his pal and everything's good. He probably likes it there. I don't know. I wouldn't like it here. Probably a better chance to win here. Or there are some that think that this trade may allow the Knickerbockers to become a real contender in the NBA. I just, as much as I like Towns, I don't know if they're going to get out of him what they think they're going to get out of him. And what's crazy is, I guess Tibbs must feel they can, because Tibbs coached him for how many years? 1 or 2?
Just one.
What was 1 year?
Are you talking about Towns, you're saying?
Yeah, Towns.
Well, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
He was here for more than a year.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I think it was a couple, 3 years. He coached Towns, so he must know what he's getting in return. He must feel strongly that Towns is the player more so than Randall. And, I do think, Towns, because of his size and his unique ability to shoot from the outside, and he can rebound. And we saw what he can do defensively against defense had always been kind of his Achilles heel, would you say? But against what's his face, the Joker, he was brilliant, right? He helped contain the Joker.
Might have been the only reason we won that series.
That's exactly
not the only reason, but yeah.
So maybe Tibbs really
Gobert couldn't cover him.
No.
Nas Reed couldn't.
His mama couldn't cover him. His daddy couldn't cover him. The police couldn't cover him. Nobody could cover him except for except for Big Meow. So maybe Tibbs saw that in him and then, knows that. I mean, he is an exceptional long-range shooter when he's on, and he's really good at it, and he can rebound a little bit. He's a unique player. And I don't know if, take money aside, let's forget about luxury tax, aprons, max contracts. You can't, but just take that away. Do you think the Wolves make that trade? Do you think they trade Big Meow for Randall DiFicenzo and Dua Lipa?
Bates Diop?
I think it's Dua Lipa, and I think he also sings on the side, too. Do you think the Wolves make that trade or not? Or do you think they keep Big Meow? If they forget, you don't
forget
have to worry,
the
forget
money?
your salary cap and the aprons and all that.
I mean, it's hard to not forget it because I think that was
right.
Maybe the main reason to do it was for salary cap flexibility, because not only would Big Meow be expensive here and cost the owners money, but he would also prevent them from ever getting better. They were like, if they were just a team that just kept winning a round or two but never getting to the big one, how are you ever going to take that next step up?
Right.
Given the limitations and the lack of draft picks you're going to have. And
yeah, but
it's hard to take the money.
It is, but I'm just saying, do you think they would rather, personnel-wise, would you rather have Towns than Randall and DiFicenzo? You're getting two pieces, and DiFicenzo apparently can knock down the three. I think you'd still rather have Towns. I think the Wolves would. But maybe not. Maybe they looked at what happened, because in that last series against Dallas, Towns wasn't as good as he was in that series against Denver. There's no question about that. And matter of fact, shooting-wise, I think, wasn't he pretty abysmal against the Nuggets?
Against Dallas?
Against Dallas, against the Mavericks. I
think a lot of them were.
Yeah, but I thought he was particularly abysmal. So, that always comes into play, too.
And it's a position that they were deep at, because you had Gobert and you had Naz Reid.
Yeah.
And I think Naz Reid showed, he was Sixth Man of the Year. He could easily be a starter in this league. And I think he's not necessarily going to give you what Karl Anthony Towns did consistently on a night-in-night basis, but if you're going to lose someone at a position, that would be where you go, because he had some depth there.
I got to admit, when Naz was first capturing the imagination of the nation, I thought, let's slow down, let's relax a little bit. A lot of players have had nice stretches during their career, right? Where they, for a game or series of games, maybe a week, month, half a season look really good, and then all of a sudden they kind of revert back to role player. Hasn't really happened with Naz.
No.
He's been the same player game in, game out. I mean, I don't have the stats in front of me. I'm sure there's been a handful of games where he doesn't put the ball in the basket as often as he'd like. Every player does it. Edwards does it. Ant has, I'm sure, had many games where he's only hit a handful of shots while shooting in the teens. But Naz Reid's he's been Naz Reid. He's been really good. So.
And it sounds like they wanted to play a little faster this year and get up and down the court. He can move down the court a little bit better than Big Meow could. Now,
a lot of people, including Rosa, are really excited about the Luka Garza guy. And I've seen here so far in preseason games, he's gotten significant minutes, it looks like, and he's scoring some points. I don't know if his role will change much with it, because he didn't play a lot of basketball at all last year with him. He had was it during the playoffs or during a late regular season game where he squared off against Joker defensively, and he actually did a pretty good job. He was grinding. I think it was like the last regular, because didn't we play Denver late in the regular season to see who would get the top seed? I could have swore that something like that happened. Something like that. And I think Garza had a good game against him defensively. He gave him everything he wanted, and because people get excited about him, I guess, because they just do. They love him. I don't understand all the love for him.
Because he played nearby.
Maybe it's because he played nearby.
Yeah.
And so, but yeah, I don't know what it was all about last night. And we have, how many more preseason? There's like 3 left, I think. I think we have 3 preseason games left before the regular season starts. And it is the...
does every league need this many preseason games?
I don't think any of them do. I just think it's...
Like the NHL, they have 6. They don't need 6.
No. I think it's a waste of everybody's time.
Football doesn't need 3.
They'll give you a reason why.
They just do joint practices. That's all they need.
That's what I would do. I I don't know heading into this season if I can't tell. I don't know how I feel about this. I mean, I remember 2 seasons ago when we made the Gobert trade, I was really interested to see, right? It was like, okay, this is different. You know, like I'd said, and I've repeated this 13, 14 times. I didn't know if the trade would work, but dang sure didn't mind trying something because we've been so bad. It was fun. You know, it showed a lot of promise. But then I think we didn't Big Meow miss some games, and we didn't see, so we decided let's run it back, and we ran it back, and it was pretty. We got to the Western Conference Finals. I was excited. I wasn't excited about the running it back season as I was the original season. And now this year, I don't know if I'm.
Can't really run it back again.
Yeah, I can't run.
Changes.
Yeah, and I don't know if I'm like really excited. I guess I'm curious to see what the team will be like now without Big Meow, you know, with Randall and Nas. And I don't know. I'm assuming Randall starts, but that could change, I suppose, depending upon. I don't know if Nas is just basically, even though he could probably start elsewhere as long as he's with this team, if he's always going to be that 6th man, which is a nice spot. And he knew it when he signed the $40 million contract. He knew at that time there was no way to know that they were going to part ways with Big Meow. So I think he knew this is what you are, and I think he embraced it and didn't mind it. So, but their season starts next week, I think, or a week and a half. So we'll pause, come back. Other side of the break, Tennessee, I got some controversial Vikings news, but I'm going to do this. I'm going to do one of those ticket giveaways right now, and I'm going to give the 11th caller the choice. They can either have a pair of tickets to see the Tommies take on the Gophers in hockey at the Fuse Box October 26th, or you can get a pair of tickets to see Flop, Sweat, and Tears tour. It's over. This time we mean it tour. Shard House, Lakeville, Wednesday night, October 23rd. 11th caller gets their choice. 1-800-320-5326. 1-800-320-5326. Controversial Vikings news, other side of the break, right here on The Fan.